Caloroga Shark Media.
Now, this is extra funny to me. Being transparent, I recorded a bunch of these back to back. When I last left you, which in my world was 30 seconds ago, I was telling you about a runaway kangaroo. Well, another runaway kangaroo. What is going on, America, with your kangaroos? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with 5 good news stories. This runaway kangaroo was in Florida. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission said multiple calls came in reporting a kangaroo on the loose. Video captured the kangaroo hopping down the middle of Hickory Tree Road before going under a fence into some nearby farmland. The FWC conducted a search and found the kangaroo hiding in a thicket in the area. The FWC said it was safely chemically immobilized. That sounds a little sus. The kangaroo was examined by a vet and found to be healthy and uninjured. It was taken to a licensed facility with experience caring for kangaroos. Now, at the time of this recording, we don't know whose kangaroo it is, but I can tell you kangaroos didn't make their way to Florida on their own. You know, they're not like rats who can sneak on a ship and get places. Somebody brought the kangaroo to Florida. I hope the kangaroo and its owner get reunited. A Michigan woman whose cat disappeared in 2022 was reunited with her beloved pet. He turned up 3 years later outside of McDonald's, 10 miles from the house. Ella said Buddy failed to come home one day in 2022. We hoped he'd come back, but then it was a couple days too long, and we started to get worried. 3 years later, she's on Facebook and came across a post from the local Humane Society. The post included photos of a cat that the shelter had named Snack Wrap after being founded outside of McDonald's, 10 miles from Ella's home. Ella said, I sent it to Grandma and said, this looks like Buddy, and I posted a picture of him on there, and I was like, do you think it could be him? The shelter was able to confirm Snack Wrap is Buddy, using vet records, old photos, and the cat's reaction to being reunited with its owner. So I'm not in favor of speeding. I'm not going to act like I've never done it, but this story is about speeding near a school. I'm against that for sure, but a Decatur resident got out of a bunch of speeding tickets after noticing a typo in the sign. So I kind of like the story here, but don't speed near schools. Anyway, Brian received a $100 ticket. He was accused of going 37 miles per hour in a 25. He told the news, the posted time frame on the sign says 25 miles an hour ends at 4:35. Our alleged violation was at 4:41. The speed camera company said the speed zone ends at 4:45. But again, the sign says 4:35. The company refused to waive the ticket and told Brian to file a formal appeal. He did. He said the police kind of blew me off when he contacted the police about it, but it appears there's misinformation about enforcement times in the school speed zone camera system. I'm not opposed to cameras and speed limits, only to inaccurate tickets being issued and the appeals hassle that goes with it. The police chief went to look. He says the violation occurred at 4:41 p.m., knowing that afternoon school zone times are 3:45 to 4:45. I went to look at the signage. The signage shows 4:35. Looks like Brian's going to get out of those tickets. If you'd like this program without commercial interruption, a couple things you can do. If you're on Apple Podcasts, click the banner that says Uninterrupted Listening. You get a 30-day free trial, and then after that, it's $5 a month, no commercials, and none of those feed drops. I know the feed drops are bugging some people, but again, being transparent, this is how we make a living, and those pay well. But if you don't want the commercials, you don't want the feed drops, $5 a month, Uninterrupted Listening on Apple Podcasts. If you're not on Apple, click the link in the show notes, caloroga.com/plus. Appreciate you supporting the show. Did you see this one? 2 newspapers, the Chicago Sun-Times and the Philadelphia Inquirer, put out lists of best summer reading. However, it turns out more than half the books listed were fake. The guy that put it together used AI and didn't check his work. Among the fake summer books you won't be able to read is The Last Algorithm by Andy Weir. That is a science-driven thriller following a programmer who discovers an AI system has developed consciousness. That's doubly hilarious given the story. However, the book doesn't exist, nor does Nightshade Market by Min-Chi Lee, which was said to be a riveting tale set in Seoul's underground economy. Lee, who is real, posted on Twitter, I have not written and will not be writing a novel called Nightshade Market. And good news if you're the guy that tried to sell the $6 million gold toilet that had been stolen from an English country house. If you've been listening to this program for years, you may recall the story. A judge said that the guy selling the toilet had been taken advantage of by the thieves. The judge explained to the defendant, those responsible for this audacious heist, 5 individuals could be seen on CCTV. They were clearly intent of disposing of their ill-gotten gains quickly. You foolishly agreed to assist. Of the group who had smashed a window to steal the toilet, of the 5, only 2 have been charged and convicted. The defendant punched his fist up in the air as he emerged from court, saying he was a good person who got caught up in something I should not have. And those are your 5 good news stories for today. You have an awesome day.